Good evening, everybody, and welcome to tonight's normal City Council meeting for Tuesday, September 3rd. I'll now call this meeting to order. Madam Clerk, roll call, please.
Schultz.
Here.
Latta.
Here.
Cruz.
Here.
Hallbaker.
Here.
Ganfield. Here. Chrisman. Here. Dunn. Here. All members present, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you, Madam Clerk. And if willing and able, could everyone please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance? I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you, everyone. And look for a motion to approve the minutes of regular City Council meeting for August 19th.
Second.
The motion seconded, and all those in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? And the motion carries. Madam Clerk, any agenda revisions?
I have no agenda revisions, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you. And we will move to public forum, where speakers will have an opportunity to speak for up to 5 minutes on topics relevant to city business. Is there anyone here from the public that would wish to speak tonight? Just name and address, please.
Rick Sharp, 1623 Birch Street, Cedar Falls. So I have a quick question first. I hope staff can answer it. Just a quick answer. What was the primary reason we're putting a roundabout at Viking and Prairie Parkway? Safety, extra money to spend? I just need a quick answer before I go on that.
And Director, you just want to really quick?
So I want to say in 2019, we had a traffic study that was done by AECOM, as well as a follow-up one done by Snyder, where we reviewed both alternatives for signal and roundabout. And those options were presented to council at that time based on safety, cost, all those things.
All right, because I didn't see anything in the lead-up. I'm not opposed to it, but anyway, I'm going to go on now. So I think it's a good idea. As we're installing it, I'm going to ask staff and council to strongly consider putting a roundabout at Prairie Parkway and Green Hill. There's already been one fatality this year. Recently, there was another accident, probably a week or so ago, that could have been serious. It put a car on the side. Luckily, it was no serious injuries there. So I think since we're having that stretch there, like some council members have agreed, that it is kind of silly to have a set of traffic lights on a series of roundabouts. And right now, that's going to be our outstanding intersection with the traffic light on a section of roundabouts there. So I'd ask for that. And then since we're going on that route on Green Hill, I'd also ask the council actually to consider putting in a roundabout there at Green Hill and Round Street, because that intersection is probably the most goofy looking intersection I've seen in my life. We go from 2 lanes down to 1 lane, turn lane, we go back out. Definitely not a good traffic flow type of thing going on. And by putting that roundabout there, then we'll have Green Hill Road corridor already covered there. I know sometimes as a city we are reactionary when it comes to intersection safety. Same looks like with Union and First, we had a fatality there, and we're going to put a roundabout up there. You know, we worked with the state on that. I'd ask the city and staff to actually be proactive this time. Do a serious effort to actually establish a date and a timeline to put roundabouts at Prairie Parkway and Green Hill and Round and Green Hill. And let's get those installed within the next 2 years. Thanks.
Thank you, Mr. Sharp. Anyone else for public comment, please? All right, seeing none, we will move to the staff updates. And I believe, Jen, we've got one quick update.
Yep. Just wanted to remind people about the Hope and Honor 9/11 5K next Wednesday. The 5K will start at 7:15, and that morning on Wednesday, September 11th, would check in at 6:45 at the Paw Park. If anyone's interested to participate, they can go to our website, and if you go under Engage and Connect, there's a link right there to go register. One of the things that we're doing is instead of a registration fee, we're asking to help the community by bringing a couple canned goods in lieu of the fee. Also, there will be some resources, some veteran and healthcare organizations. So even if you don't want to participate in the 5K, even if you just want to come out and check out some of the resource booths, that'd be great that morning.
Thank you, Jen.
Yep.
I'll be running if anybody else wants to jump in.
I was told it was a run-walk.
Run.
Okay.
I mean, that's the option.
Okay.
All right, moving to old business. We'll go down to number 2, pass ordinance number 3075, amending Chapter 2, Administration of the Code of Ordinances relative to salary of members and salary of the mayor upon its third and final consideration. Do we have a motion to approve?
So move.
Second.
And seconded. And any discussion from council?
Any from the public? Seeing none, roll call vote, please.
Mine didn't take. Good, no?
All members voting aye, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you, Madam Clerk. Item number 3.
Mr. Mayor, before we go on, prior to the meeting, I got a notification from a citizen that sound is not coming through over, and if Denny can hear me, they just reached out again and said there's not sound on channel 15.
Okay. You got that, Denny?
We do have sound going on.
Okay.
Thanks.
Thanks for the heads up. All right, item number 3, passed ordinance number 3076, amending Chapter 2, Administration of the Code of Ordinances relative to oath, bond, and powers and duties, bond upon its third and final consideration. Do a motion to approve.
So moved.
Second.
Motion seconded. Any discussion from council? And any from the public? All right, seeing none, roll call vote, please.
All members voting aye, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you, Madam Clerk. Item number 4, pass ordinance number 3077, amending Chapter 16, Offenses and Miscellaneous Provisions of the Code of Ordinances relative to discharge of weapons upon its third and final consideration. Do we have a motion to approve?
So moved. Second.
Motion seconded. Any discussion from council?
Mr. Mayor?
Yeah.
I think it is worth pointing out, I had a conversation with Mr. Rogers as well, so we don't need to change this one. The rules of our land do apply, so the concern that I brought up in previous meeting has already been mitigated with this writing. So
Okay.
This is good code, in my opinion, as well. Thank you.
Thank you. And for anyone wondering, we had a discussion about that at the previous meeting, just about some of the wording, so thank you, Councilmember Ganfield. And so any discussion from the public? All right, seeing none, roll call vote, please.
All members voting aye, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you, Madam Clerk. Item number 5, pass ordinance number 3078, amending Chapter 24, Utilities of the Code of Ordinances relative to applicability, definitions, and requirements for approval of stormwater management plan upon its third and final consideration. Do we have a motion to approve?
Second.
Motion seconded. Any discussion from the council?
Mr. Mayor?
Yep.
Just a little clarification. I was asked by someone how this might apply to what they described as smaller parking lots, and doing a little digging on the applicability of this. It looks like there's 4 items over an acre of land, 5,000 square feet of impervious cover, part of a current larger common development, and 25,000 square feet of redevelopment. So whichever want to answer this, would not apply if I had a 4-car parking lot that I wanted to fix some of the panels that, say, the garbage truck broke, because it would expose the subbase, but it's not applicable unless it's in those 4 criteria.
That is correct, and Mr. Ricky can come up and explain it a little more, but also any new impervious area, there's a stipulation of any additional, I believe it's 5,000 square feet of new impervious area
Yeah.
it would be triggered. So depends on the size of the,
So on a redevelopment, if you add 5,000 square feet of parking lot, right? Is that what you're saying?
any new impervious area of 5,000 square feet.
Any new, okay.
We've had some large residential lots, just homes, that have triggered the stormwater ordinance.
Because you're counting the footprint of the home as well,
Yep, and paving, yep.
and sidewalks and so on. Okay.
Did that answer everything you needed, Councilmember Cruz?
Yeah, I'm just concerned that you can repair existing as long as it doesn't fit the trigger of these 4.
Repair existing up to the 25,000 of redevelopment.
Yeah.
Yep.
Okay, great, thank you.
Any other discussion from council? Seeing none, any from the public? All right, seeing none, we have a motion second, so roll call vote for item number 5, please.
All members voting aye, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you, Madam Clerk. Move on to our consent calendar. So the following items will be acted upon by a voice vote on a single motion without separate discussion unless someone from the council or public requests a specific item be considered separately. Are there any requests for items on the consent calendar be considered separately? I'm going to pull item number 8, please. And any others from council? All right, seeing none, any from the public? we'll pull it, and then we'll pull it separately here in a second. Item number 10. Any others from the public? All right, so do we have a motion to approve the consent calendar items 6 through 11, excluding number 8 and number 10?
So moved.
Second.
Been moved and seconded, and requires a voice vote. So all those in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? That motion carries. We'll go to item number 8, which is to approve the following recommendation of the mayor relative to the appointment of members to boards and commissions for Maggie Watkins, Planning and Zoning Commission, term ending 11/01/2027. I wanted to pull it. We do have Maggie here today, so Maggie, if you wouldn't mind coming up, and just figured give her a chance to introduce herself to the group and say a little bit of her background.
Hi, good evening, all. My name is Maggie Watkins. I'm an architect for Envision Architecture out of Waterloo. I moved here after college 11 years ago and purchased a home with my husband in Cedar Falls 2 years ago, so looking forward to the opportunity to serve. I can promise you I'm expecting in December, so I'm personally invested in the future of this growing community. So just wanted to say thank you for the opportunity, and I look forward to serving and getting to know you all a little bit better. So thank you.
Thank you, Maggie.
Thank you.
And so we will look on this item for a motion to approve.
So moved.
Second.
The motion is seconded, and any discussion from council or any questions for Maggie while we have her here? All right, seeing none, any discussion or question from the public? All right, seeing none, requires a voice vote. All those in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carries. Thank you, Maggie. And then moving to item number 10, approve the application of Crossroads Fireworks LLC for a fireworks display permit for September 28th, 2024. Do we have a motion to approve?
So moved.
Second.
And motion and seconded, and if you'd like to come up and...
Prepared a little something. Hello, my name is Jacob Paul. I am one of the organizers of the Lost Woods Music Festival. Lost Woods Music Festival is a single-day event in the woods north of Big Woods Lake, and we are in our second year. We're featuring musicians and artists from locally and across the Midwest. It's going to be a pretty amazing day. This is our second year. We're still in concept mode, but we're expecting about 1,500 people. And to end the festival, we are humbly asking to have a five-minute fireworks show, which was supposed to be a secret, so this isn't on TV or anything. It's not just us sending them off with gas station lighters and cigarettes. We've actually hired Crossroads Fireworks to do a professional fireworks show. Again, it's only 5 minutes, but they'll be handling the whole thing. As our festival grows each year, we hope to make a positive economic impact to the community, whether it's restaurants, campsites, or hotels. And I guess Katy Perry in 2010 wrote a song that says, "'Cause baby, you're a firework. Come on, show them what you're worth. Make them go, oh, oh, oh." And with that, I ask that you consider our request. Thank you.
Thank you. Any discussion or questions from council? Or equally enthusiastic commentary?
Great idea, love it.
Mr. Mayor,
Are you going to quote a
what's the-
song? Are you going to quote a song?
Good song, I like that. What are the hours of your event, or what's?
We will be 4:30 p.m. to 11:30 p.m.
4:30, 11:30?
So 4:30 to
And what day
11.
was that again?
It's September 28th.
28th, okay.
Lost Woods Music Festival.
Any other questions or discussion from council? Or any from the public? Just your name, please.
Rick Sharp. Just a quick question. So what time's the fireworks display going to be?
Do you mind answering quick?
Around 11:15 p.m.
Is that allowed by code? Because usually aren't they a little bit earlier when we have like you and I and stuff? Because that's usually past people's bedtimes, us old folks.
Display fireworks are different. They're not subject to those limitations.
Any time of the year?
Correct.
Okay, thanks.
As long as you get a permit. Any other discussion from the public? All right, seeing none, all those in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carries.
I'm going to change mine to aye. This has been a tough one for me, but I think this is a good, so mine's an aye.
It was the Katy Perry.
It was the Katy Perry that,
took me over.
Bold strategy.
We won't be able to get the song out of our head now tonight, I think. So.
all right. So we'll move to the resolution calendar. So the following items will be acted upon by a roll call vote on a single motion without separate discussion unless someone from the council or public requests that a specific item be considered separately. Are there any requests for items on the resolution calendar to be considered separately from the council?
Mr. Mayor, 19.
Item number 19. All right, number 19, any others from council? Seeing none, any from the public? Seeing none, so can we have a motion to approve items 12 through 22 of the resolution calendar, excluding item number 19?
So moved.
Second.
Then motion and seconded, and a roll call vote, please.
All members voting aye, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you, Madam Clerk. So item number 19, a resolution approving and authorizing execution of an agreement with HKGI relative to consultant services for the Parks and Recreation Master Plan. Do we have a motion to approve?
So moved.
Second.
Been motion and seconded, and Councilmember Cruz?
Yes, thank you. I was looking at the timeline, and it's quite lengthy before we'd actually get to the point of, I guess, mandating Parks and Rec in current subdivisions of Cedar Falls. What are we doing with current subdivisions that are ongoing and developing? They seem to be developing without bike trails, much for recreation, parks, lakes. We did talk about this at a meeting, I know, and what are we implying or asking developers to do, and how much teeth do we have in it?
Would you mind, Stephanie?
Sure. As the presentation went over, it is a little bit subjective to the location where the subdivision might be. So, for example, I think Ms. Howard talked about Hidden Pines as an example near Green Hill and Cedar Heights Drive, and they have they're proposing a trail around the detention pond as an example. And then we've had other examples where we have like West Fork, where they're going to be dedicating a park. We recently reviewed the Sands addition, and a open space area is part of that preliminary plat that came through. So it really kind of depends on the location, what we have for area, parks, connections to trails, that type of thing.
Then as a follow-up question on Autumn Ridge, what's the plan there, where there was a change in what was proposed and it no longer is going to be green space?
Well, that proposal's not moving forward. They withdrew their request. So if they want to make a change to their master plan, that'll have to come forward. Otherwise, they have to comply with the master plan that's been adopted.
So then the way this lays out, it would be, if we go to this timeline, October, November timeframe of 2025, so any new improvements for parks would be 26 construction season?
Well, the plan would be reviewed and hopefully adopted by the council, and from there, then staff would bring forward for capital improvement projects, ideas that would be consistent with the plan. And also the other component that's shown here is how we would make changes to our subdivision code that would be at the tail end of this project as well for new development, what type of land they might need to dedicate, would there be any improvements that might be required. That's all subject to the council's approval.
Sure. But the ultimate implementation is, well, October, November of 2025. You won't be doing much for groundwork then. I mean, you could do some. Just curious, because we're looking at 26, essentially.
So as we were putting the contract together, we negotiated or spoke with the consultants, and for them to pull that portion of the creating new code for requirements for the developer, they thought it would be premature to do too early in the process. So really, they thought it was at the tail end, but we are going to push for it as soon as they feel comfortable making that recommendation for this community.
Okay. Yeah. Mr. Mayor? Yep. I think normally, and I appreciate the urgency with which we attack this, because it needs to be done.
and we're trusting these experts to give us that. I appreciate how much money and time we're focusing on community outreach, because I think that's how we get a winner deal at the end. So I don't think we need to expedite the project any further than the timeline that's there, but let's get going on it.
Mr. Mayor?
Yep.
I want to think or say that Birdsell Park and the softball diamonds there are going to be worked on sooner than this will be, or am I, timeline's getting?
We proposed in our most recent capital improvement plan that Birdsell Park is one that we're seeing is in need of some attention. And I think we have it planned to closely follow adoption of this plan. So the point there is if this plan takes that park in a totally different direction, we'd be able to react to that because we haven't started anything with that project before the plan looks like it's either going to be adopted or is moving forward.
So then in the CIP, there's money allocated for Birdsell Park then, currently?
Yes. Yep.
Okay. So that could be incorporated into next construction season, if it goes the direction.
We're trying to position some implementation of the recommendations from the plan to happen pretty quickly after that plan, but, and that would be one of the first items.
Thank you.
Any other discussion from council? Seeing none, any from the public? Seeing none, we have a motion and second. It requires a roll call vote, please.
All members voting aye, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you, Madam Clerk. We'll move on to the ordinances. So item number 23, pass an ordinance amending Chapter 5, alcoholic and malt beverages of the Code of Ordinances relative to the purpose, eligibility for license, conditions for issuance of license, approval required, application for approval, granting of approval, suspension or revocation of approval, location and operation generally, and location and operation exemptions upon its first consideration. Thank you, Kevin. Do we have a motion and a second?
So moved.
Second.
And any discussion from council?
Mr. Mayor?
Yep.
Question. If I remember right, reading it, we're doing away with the food requirement, kind of zeroing in on 150 feet from R1, R2, R3, and so on. As I travel the country, you get into communities that are really old, and you see very unique pubs and various things in neighborhoods. I like the fact that we're eliminating the food, but the 150 feet from any portion of an R1, R2, and so on, could there be a situation where we'd want to, in a unique building that could be a quaint cafe, pub in the community, could we allow that? Is that going to be a board of adjustments, or how would we do that if something popped up? Because the idea is having retail nodes throughout the community and entertainment and so on.
Yeah, we do have a couple zones that are, of course, mixed-use zones, like the MU district. And so we did eliminate the 150-foot spacing requirement for the establishment itself. So there won't be a 150-foot spacing requirement anymore with this ordinance. However, there will be a 150-foot spacing from an outdoor service area. We felt like that was the one that might disturb late at night, nearby residents. So we kept that 150-foot spacing requirement, but if it's a restaurant or, an establishment that would close by 10 o'clock, for example, they wouldn't have to space it 150 feet. So it's more like how the late night operations of it that would disturb the neighborhood. So we kept that in the ordinance, but really simplified a lot of those requirements.
So if somebody had a unique business plan that was obviously quiet, they could still have outdoor dining, but 150 feet from the edge of that dining patio or how are you going to do the 150 feet?
So as long as they're closed by 10, they can have it. They don't have they can get an exemption from the 150-foot spacing requirement. Now, it still has to be a use that's allowed in the zone. So for example, if it's a mixed-use zone, let's think about Western Homes. They have Gilmore Pub out there. So because it's part of their master plan, we know where that little commercial node is there. That would be allowed, for example.
So if we had a historic building, like there's some sprinkled through the numbered streets, and it was unique enough you could apply for a change on a little area to rezone it if it's currently R1? I mean, I could name a few properties, but, I mean, on Gulf, I think, and different places, there's some old buildings that could become a little cafe or something for the neighborhood and be kind of cool.
Yeah. So, yeah, I mean, I guess it would have to be then an ordinance amendment to allow that to occur in that area, for example.
Sure. And a change like that, could that be just applicable to a current business so that if the business changed owners and changed theme, that it would no longer be allowed? Could that, or does you have to, when you change the zoning, then that carries on in perpetuity?
Right, if that type of a business was allowed by the zoning ordinance, it would be allowed regardless of who owned the property.
Okay. Okay.
Just follow up quick. I think he was asking too one question about where is that 150 feet measured from? Is that from the edge of the actual outdoor patio seating, or is it from the property line?
I think it's from the edge of the outdoor service area to the edge of the zone, one of those zones.
Yep. Thank you. Any other questions or comments from council? All right, seeing none, any from the public? All right, also seeing none, we have a motion and second and a roll call vote, please.
All members voting aye, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you, Madam Clerk. Now move to item 24, pass an ordinance amending Chapter 12, Human Relations of the Code of Ordinances relative to the Human Rights Commission, membership, appointment of members, term of office, and qualifications upon its first consideration. Do we have a motion to approve?
So moved.
Second.
And motion seconded, and I will just some quick background on this. I talked with the Human Rights Commission, discussed within themselves, were previously an 11-person committee, had reviewed some of the others around the state, and saw that that's larger than what some of the other ones are, ranging from kind of 7 to 9. And this was a request from the Human Rights Commission to look at changing it from the 11 to the 9, I think partly to help with some of the attendance requirements with the group. So any discussion or questions from council?
Mr. Mayor?
Yeah.
Can you clarify too, is it the only board that stipulates a replacement appointment term? It says you have to appoint for vacancies within 60 days. That's being changed. Is this the only one that had that provision?
I don't know. Attorney Rogers, do you know by chance?
I mean, that's a lot.
You're saying, is this the only reappointment clause for all the boards and commissions, all the ordinances that cover that? I can't say off the top of my head, but I can get that information for you.
Oh.
But the only change in the ordinance was the number.
Two that I'm seeing. I'm just double checking.
I believe also reduce or eliminating the 60-day.
Right. Which can be prohibitive to good function, so I understand.
I stand corrected. That was specifically discussed, and it was the only one like that, and we did eliminate. Thanks for the reminder.
Perfect.
Yes.
Thank you, sir. Good recollection. I appreciate that.
Any other discussion from?
Can you refresh my memory? How many vacancies are on that commission right now?
We currently have 7 commission members.
And
so we currently have 4 vacancies. And
4 vacancies, and we're proposing that we go to 9, correct?
Yep.
Thanks.
And then reduces quorum from the 6 that they need now to 5. Any other discussion?
I think, Mr. Mayor, sorry.
Yep.
I know it's not applicable to this change, but I think I'd be remiss if I didn't mention that sometimes changing the ordinance to gain compliance is actually appropriate. So just keep that in mind for future terms.
All right, any other from council? All right, seeing none, any from the public? Also seeing none, we have a motion and second and a roll call vote, please.
All members voting aye, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you, Madam Clerk. We'll move to allow bills and claims. We have a motion to allow bills and claims for September 3rd, 2024.
So moved.
Second.
Motion and second, and any discussion? Any questions or discussion from the public? All right, seeing none, requires a roll call vote, please.
All members voting aye, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you, Madam Clerk. Any council updates or announcements?
Mr. Mayor.
Yep.
Actually, a quick question I should have asked earlier. I was looking in our Code of Ordinances for description on land use permits and when we have to attain those. I put in the keywords land use permits and I couldn't find any section. Can somebody get that to me? Or if they know off the top of their head what section it's in?
I don't know the section off the top of my head, but I didn't know if you were asking your stormwater question related to the land use permit or not, because they would need to apply for a land use permit there.
That's
Yeah.
part of it, but also I've had people come to me and said they were tearing down one of those rickety tin garage, storage sheds in their backyard, and they're putting up a different one, and they had to do a land use permit, which I thought it's not a foundation, it's just a movable building. So I wanted to review in my mind when a land use permit is required and when it's not. And I didn't really do the Boolean search or whatever it's called, keyword search, and I couldn't find it.
We can get that to you.
Okay.
Check on it.
Thank you.
Any other
Mayor?
council updates? Yep.
So I just want to remind folks of twofold. So the hazardous waste take back that happens twice a year, once in Cedar Falls in the fall and then once in Waterloo in the spring, happens coming up on this Saturday, which is sorry, right there. Yes, that's what I'm reminding you. But the reason I'm saying something is this takes a big amount of volunteers to make this happen. I've volunteered at it for the last few years, and it can be a very physical job depending on what you're unloading. So they were still looking for volunteers. They asked that people sign up by September 6th, so today's 3rd. You do get like donuts and goodies and then Jimmy John's, so there's some incentive if you just are like food, tempted by food. But it's a really great event that we're lucky to have put on in partnership with Waste Track and then city staff. And anyway, I just hope that people consider it. It'd be a shame if it didn't continue to happen. And then also on the citizen side, if you're a Black Hawk County resident, you can take part in it, and it gives you a list of what you can bring, but you do have to sign up for a spot. It's not like just first come, first serve anymore. So just a reminder to people that is all going on.
Thank you, Councilor Dunn.
Thank you.
Mr. Mayor.
Yep.
Along that lines of signing up, who do they call? City clerk or?
No, it's all on either Waste Track's website, or if you're on social media, it's on their social media, it's on our city social media, but there's a sign up so you can go and fill out the form and
Do it online?
Yep.
Okay. Thank you.
All right, any other announcements from council?
Mr. Mayor.
Yep.
Just extend a word of congratulations to the school district as well as just the community at large. We had a great turnout for the first home football game at the new stadium. I think the public safety folks did a great job with traffic in and out of there. I heard all kinds of war stories about what it was going to be like, and it turned out it was just fine. So for a standing room only crowd, that's pretty impressive. So hope to see more of that to come, but great job by the community for showing out. Roundabouts worked. How about that?
And good luck to the high school girls tonight with their volleyball game, which is about right now. Any other council updates? All right, seeing none. Any council referrals? We don't have any written, so any pressing referrals?
Mr. Mayor?
Yeah.
Just that I don't forget, it's not that pressing, but since Mr. Sharp is still in the room, could we refer to this year's goal setting, a discussion about escalating the timetable and looking at those two roundabout locations on Green Hill with Round and Pinnacle Prairie?
Mm-hmm.
I'd second that.
And I can go ahead and include it unless you guys want to vote on it.
Just include it.
I got you.
Groovy. Thank you.
All right, and any other referrals? Otherwise, we'll look for a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Seconded, and all those in favor?
Aye.
All opposed?
Thanks.
Motion carries.